So, who do you think has been talked about the last few days? Oh, maybe a couple weeks now. Ah, Hasan Piker. I'm not sure if it's the Democrats or the Republicans that don't like him. I don't know. I just know I kind of think he's doing a pretty good job. Yeah, I may not like everything that he says, but I think he's doing a good job. Hi, everybody. It's Lori from Numerology with Lori, and I hope you'll like and subscribe if you can. I know the algorithm is kind of weird right now, but I'm trying to get my channel up off the road, and it would be great if you could help me out. So thank you. So let's talk a little bit about Hassan. His destiny number is an 8, which, in my opinion, is a pretty powerful number. It's about power, it's about control. It's just what is needed for his life as an activist, as a content creator. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So let's see. The other thing that I have about him is that his personality number is a 3, which is how others see him. So this is pretty interesting because he's very successful in social media. He's kind of considered a star, if you will. So we can't say, is he a celebrity? Is he a political figure? He's kind of a little bit of both, in my opinion. He may not have the celebrity status like somebody like Johnny Depp or Leonardo DiCaprio, but he is a celebrity nonetheless. And he's also a great communicator, which is the personality number in action. So that 3 is about he has a joyful way of looking at the world, and he, in his way, but he lets everybody know, which is the communication part. So the soul number, though, is a 14-5. So, in talking about that, again, we see a lot of people with this 14-5, specifically political people. I think I've done the 5 top 2008 presidential candidates for Democrats. I've done karmic information on world leaders, including DJT, and that 14-5 is present in a lot of those numbers. Um, so it's not so much that it is unusual, but it is a debt that carries over from what we consider past lives and we don't remember. I have heard somebody mention that, and I agree. It doesn't seem fair. But what's a better course of action is to know ahead of time what's going on so that you can work on it and get rid of it, get rid of the karmic debt. So let's talk about 14-5. 14-5 is the temptations. It's when I looked into Hassan, he has some comments that could be interpreted as misogynistic. Um, it could be interpreted as hatred of Jewish people. I don't really think that that's where he's going or that's what he's doing, but it can be interpreted that way. So if that's the case, is that where this 14-5 is coming in? I'm not really sure. I will say this, and we've talked about this with other people, but the 2026 year, this year, is the year for new beginnings. It also adds to a true 10, and the 10 is about ending of karma. Now, the other thing that's important to remember is June adds up to 14 and July adds up to 14. You take the letters that match to each, you take the number that adds to each, that corresponds to each letter, and you add that across and you get 14. And 1 plus 4 equals what? Equals 5. So it's a karmic month. It's a month for somebody with a karmic um, debt of 14-5 to look for the new beginnings in that month. So I would say that it might be interesting to see in June and July what Hasan Piker is able to come up with and what he's able to change because could the that 14.5 be settled in his debt where he doesn't have to carry it over? I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting thought process. The issue, at least as a numerologist sees it here, is some of what we just talked about. So there are times when he seems helpful and times when he doesn't. That that's I think that's what most people that don't know that much about him. And I will say that I want to learn more about Hassan Piker. I like him as a human being. I like what he does for democracy. I like the activism that he is showing. I would like to know more about the parts of him that I'm unsure about, or that give other Democrats pause, specifically central Democrats that are not progressive or not leftist, that don't believe in somebody helping out a candidate like he does. I mean, look at what he did recently for, is it El Sayad, the guy in Michigan? I'm sorry that I don't remember his name. I read it all the time and yet I can't remember it. Um, but Hassan stood with him and increased his numbers, his poll numbers. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty amazing that one person could do that. It really is. Um, so yeah, so let's keep in mind, let's keep a watch on this. The fact is there is a 14.5 at play. So we have to take what he says with a grain of salt. I'm curious as to why, if he is misogynistic, why? That's an interesting thought process. Where does this come from? I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that question, but I'm just wondering, and I'm wondering if anybody has a response to that in the comments. So his life path number is a 7, which is an interesting life path. More specifically, it's a karmic 16/7. So the karmic number is kind of a love karma, and it basically means that he's done somebody dirty in love in a past life. So this time around, he needs to understand that if he can. And again, keep in mind 2026 is that ending of karma year. I don't know about the June and July. They do not add up to 16, they add up to 14. But still, we'll see where he goes with this. Let's see where Hassan goes with this. So he's up to research and analysis. That's what the seven is about. But his love life is mysterious. And fan sleuths have been relentless. I will say the first one that I saw on the list, and I apologize if I get the name incorrect, but it's Emaine Annis, also known as Pokimane. So she's a Twitch gamer. They tried to keep it quiet. And it ended in 2021. So that was the first person he was with. Again, they tried to keep it quiet. I'm not sure what that's about, you know? The second person that I saw on this list of people that Hassan Piker has dated in the past, he's actually a pretty young person. He's only in his early 30s. Val Valkyrie. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering it. Rachel Marie Hofstedt. So she was a roommate of Pokimane, also a popular gamer on Twitch. I don't know when they started dating, but I do know that it ended in 2022. Interesting. So is that also seems to be part of the 16/7 love karma that he is taking along with him. And the third person that I see on this list, and again, he's only in his early 30s. So these are people he's had longer term relationships, love relationships with. So the third person I see is Janice Griffith. So she was an adult star in the past. Actually, I think she's still an adult star, but I'm not sure. Keep in mind, his son is only 34 years old. Yeah, I just talked about that. So this is a 2026 universal year issue. It really is. If he can find the way, and the truth of the matter is, there are many true tens in every month. There's a 10 in the month in a birth date, a date rather. There's always a 10. But also, if you add up any given month with any specific day, you might get a true 10, a 1910, a 2810, maybe a 3710. It's something to think about. And then the month of October is interesting because the whole month is 10. That's it, the whole month. October is a 10. That's kind of interesting if you ask me. So, yeah, he could work on it and complete his karma. He's also entering a sixth personal year. That's fascinating. Might he get married? I don't know. That's what the six is indicative of. It's indicative of love, of family, of marriage, and divorce. So, since he's not already married, let's assume that he's going to get married. That's an interesting concept. Lastly, let's talk about his maturity number six. That is another fascinating. Again, we're talking about a number that has to do with love, has to do with family, it has to do with marriage and divorce. That's fascinating. So, marriage, yep, okay, we just talked about this. This suggests he might work on that 16-7 love karma. And the reason for that is the 1 plus 6 adds to 7. The 6 is located on the inside of the formula. So 1 plus 6 equals 7. So the 6, where it is, tells me that one of the things that he needs to work on going forward, and this is where the maturity number stands to reason, if you will, is marriage, divorce. So even if he's going into a personal year and he meets somebody and he falls in love, doesn't necessarily mean he's going to get married. But the maturity number of the six suggests that he might get married soonish, 34 to 45 in that range. So that within the next 10 years. That stands to reason with almost anybody. But some people stay single. And maybe if Hassan is going to get married at that point in time, it could mean that he has worked on that 16-7 love, karmic love. I don't know. So anyway, I want to keep this a little bit shorter because I feel like I've been going on so long. But thanks so much for tuning in. And listen, I'm glad you guys are joining me. You all have the best day ever. I really hope you do. And I'm so glad that we were able to spend this time together. Thank you so much.